Hi, I'm Anita. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a nice gentle Pilates flow. Ideal if you've already done some Pilates practice. Great to do at home, maybe first thing in the morning, just to sort of get everything moving. So we're going to start as we normally do in standing, feet about hip width apart. Just checking to see that we have our weight nicely balanced between all four corners of your feet, and allowing your ankles a little bit of movement, letting your feet roll in and out a couple of times, feeling the breadth of contact through the soles of your feet. Check the knees are nice and soft, coming up to your pelvis. So we're thinking of our bowl of water, our pelvic bowl, and we're going to tip forward and tip back. A couple of times in either direction, and finding ourselves in that neutral pelvis where we're sat nicely over our feet. Front of your body, back of your body has the same length. We've got ear, shoulder, hip, down to feet. Everything nicely balanced, nicely poised. Bring your shoulders up towards your ears. Let them melt down. So breathe in, exhale as they soften down, and again. Think of allowing any tension just to flow down your arms as you release the shoulders back down. Once more, we'll bring the shoulders up. Let's rotate from the shoulder joints, palms facing forward. So we're getting a little bit of openness across the front of the collarbones, and slide the shoulder blades down. Arms nice and loose, nice and relaxed. Okay, let's bring your chin down lightly towards your collarbone, lengthen through the back of your neck, and come back up level. Keeping the shoulders nice and level. Allow one ear to drop towards the shoulder, coming back up level, over to the other side, and back to the centre. Looking over towards one side, nod your head down, follow the line of your collarbone with your chin. Let's go back the other way, nodding down, and a little flow through the range of motion in your neck, coming back to the front. Let's take one shoulder, loosen any tightness off there. Arms nice and relaxed, just dangling down from the shoulder joint, not involved. Okay, other side. So watch for those elbows, because sometimes they can take over, and then the movement comes from the arm rather than the shoulder, and relaxing that shoulder down. Coming back to our pelvis, so we've tipped it forward and back. We're going to do a little bit of lateral movement. Coming on to one foot, bringing this foot off the floor, getting your balance, and then small hike up, and then down. So this can be a bit challenging. If you're on a mat, you might want to take yourself close to a piece of furniture or a wall so that you've got something to pop your hand on. You might want to have the hands on the hips so you can feel how the movement happens. This hip is lifting up and then letting it go down. Watch for the leg coming out to the side here. Try to keep the knees sliding quite close to each other. We'll do one more on this side. Back to 2 feet. And go to the other side. So one side might have more movement than the other. So you might notice that within yourself. And that's quite normal. We work within the range that you've got. And if one side feels a little bit weaker, you might want to do a couple extra on that side. Okay, let me hear a little click in my hip here. And last one, back to 2 feet. Okay, maybe taking the feet a little bit wider here. We're going to do some openness into the side of the body. So lifting one arm up and exhale, sliding this hand down, reaching over into a nice side bend. Back to upright, other side. And again, you might find one side easier than the other, but we're going to flow. Exhale, inhale. There's a little bit of movement in our bodies. Okay. One more each side. This time we're going to go across your body. So a little bit of rotation. Upper body turns. Lead with your breastbone. And just let your arms follow along. Okay. And last one. And back to the centre. Just going to walk my feet back in to about hip width. And then inhale, let's float our arms about shoulder height. Exhale, bring them down by your sides. No effort, light as a feather. Imagine the air is really thick, pull them back in. And again. Think about lengthening through your spine. So as your arms come down, crown of the head, just lengthening away from your tailbone. One more. Lovely. Give that a little shake out. It feels really tight. So I'm going to have weight on one foot. We're going to do a nice knee lift up in front and then extend that foot behind. So this leg straight, and you can be a little bit soft if you wish. Balancing on that standing leg. Arms, you can use them for balance. You could take your hand against the wall if you need a little bit of support. So again, a flow here, going with the breath. Upper body stays nice and tall, so we don't lean forward as we take the leg behind. Okay. And back to 2 feet. Do the other side. So again, bringing the foot forward, taking the leg behind. Come out so you can see from the front. Again, upper body stays nice and tall. So we're getting the movement from the hip joint. Extending the hip, take the leg behind the body. Last one on this side. Okay, and coming back to 2 feet. So from here, we're going to go into a forward fold, halfway forward fold. So knees are bent, lengthening through your spine. So watching here that you don't curl over. You want to keep lengthening through the crown of the head, hinging at the hip crease here, bringing the chest down. So you're coming to about sort of parallel to the floor. If you feel that you're starting to arch your back here, then try to lengthen through the chest, through the crown of the head. Hands can support you on the thighs or on the shins, and you can breathe here. You could give your hips a little sway side to side, or a little tuck under and then lengthen. See how that feels in your back. And then from here, if you wish, we're going to drape your body down, coming down towards the floor, coming into a forward fold. So don't reach We'll try to stretch here. Keep the knees nice and soft and gently bent, and think about bringing the chest towards the side. Head, neck, nice and relaxed. Coming back up, you can use your hands, you can walk yourself back to standing. And again, exhale, coming forward, either halfway or down into your forward fold. Coming back up. I'm going to show you from the other side as well, because my left side's not my best to demonstrate. So exhale, coming forward. You could cup the opposite elbow with your hand, and again you could have a little gentle sway here. See how that feels in your lower back, and then walking back to upright. I'm going to take myself towards the back of my mat. I'm going to bend at the knees, hinge at the hips, come forward. This time we're going to bring our hands down onto the mat and walk out. Coming out onto your hands, lower down onto your knees, and then come around onto a seated position. So we want to be nice and tall. Find your sit bones. Nice tall spine. Knees can be bent here. Hands can be out in front, and tilt your pelvis back. So we're going to think about taking your lower back down towards the mat. So watching that we don't come back here with the head. Keep the chin tucked down. Hands could be under the legs for a little bit of support. Lower back, not all the way. Coming down, lower back onto the mat. Exhale, come back up, nice and tall. And again, setting the lower back down. Connecting this movement, this flow of the breath. Exhale. Pause and inhale. Exhale to come back up. And again. Okay, one more like this. This time, if you wish, coming all the way down to the floor. You can keep the knees bent for this. Again, with tilting the lower back down. Nice and controlled all the way down. Inhale at bottom. Exhale. Peeling the head up, peeling the shoulders up, and coming nice and tall. And then flowing back down. So, finding your rhythm with your breath. Inhale. Exhale. Remembering here to keep the neck and the shoulders nice and relaxed. So if you come to here and you get a little bit stuck, roll to one side, use an arm, push yourself back up to your start position, and then you can go again. We're going to do one more. Rolling back down. Inhale, exhale, coming back up. You can have a little pause here. Imagine you've got a nice beach ball in front of you. Exhale, we can come forward. So we do a little bit of upper body rotation. So we're going to keep this wide seated position if that's comfortable for you. You could have your legs out straight if you prefer. We're going to take our hands out to level with your shoulders. Exhale. As we turn, inhale, exhale, inhale. A little turn this time, add a little fold forward. Exhale, come back. let fall forward. So I've got pretty tight hips, and this is a challenge for me, so I'm only going to come a little way forward. You might be able to come further in your body, so don't always think what I'm doing is exactly as you should be doing it. Everybody's bodies are different, and we work within your own range. So listening to your body, watching here that you're not curling over, okay? So I'm trying to bring my chest forward, and then last time. Okay, bending my knees, coming back down onto our mat. If you want to pop your cushion underneath your head, you can. Just checking in here, shoulders are relaxed, rib cage is down on the mat. Natural curve here at your waistband, so I'm not pressing my lower back down into the mat. I've got my pelvis in that neutral place. I'm just going to walk my feet down a little bit, and then little tilt back, little tilt forward. So you can see we go forward, it creates more space underneath my lower back. Come back to neutral, that's where we want to keep our pelvis. Focus on your breath, breathing in to the sides, the back of your rib cage. Exhale, we're thinking of that lacing up of your corset muscles. A little bit of drawing up from your pelvic floor. So exhale, lifting one foot up, bringing the knee up to just above the hip. Not worrying too much about what my shin or my foot's doing, more about getting that nice flexion in my hip, and watching here that my pelvis hasn't tipped back as well. So we're keeping that neutral pelvis. Exhale, lower that foot down to the floor. Other side, same thing. Bringing that knee up. Again, I might not get quite so far on this side because my leg wants to go out here somewhere. So we work, again, within your own range. Exhale, lower that foot down to the floor. Again, bringing that foot up, lacing up the corset muscles, lowering down. So you can stay doing this. This is your single leg lift and lower. Or we can bring one foot up into the air, we can bring the other foot up into the air. And from here we can tap one toe gently onto the mat, bring it back up. Again, watching here that we don't let the back arch, okay? So one foot, everything else stays nice and still, bringing that foot back up. Exhale. So really working here, lacing up the corset muscles. Nice and controlled. Okay. Can you go one more each side? So, little rest, you can hug the knees in towards your chest. You can give yourself a nice stretch out if you like. Feet back up, lacing up your corset muscles, floating your hands up. So let's reach up through the fingertips of one hand, the shoulders up off the mat. Then I'm going to draw that shoulder back down. Other side, same thing. Reaching up nice and tall, drawing it back down. Opposite hand and foot, so we're going to take them up, over, and bring it back. So we're dead bugs. Again, keeping pelvis in that neutral position. Breathing. So don't forget to breathe. I feel like I'm always saying that, but it's really common when you're focusing and you're bracing and you're thinking about lots of other things that the breath goes and does not flow. So exhale. Inhale. Okay. One more each side. and then a little rest there. Again, you can have the knees, we can give them a little rock from side to side, and we can bring the feet down. If you want to, give the hips a little stretch out. Okay, so even a little rock from side to side on your lower back, that can feel really nice. And then settling back into your supine position. So we want to do just a little bit of hip movement here. So we can do a bent leg version. So we have the knee, and we're going to think about drawing a circle on the ceiling with your knee. Or you can extend that leg up. If you do, that's absolutely fine. You don't, the difference being the weight of the leg really. So when we start to draw this circle, we want to think about keeping everything else nice and still. So we want to go inhale and exhale. So if you feel that you go inhale and this happens, then too far, okay? So you can either just make that circle a bit smaller, or bend the leg and you're going to go with the knee instead of the foot. So this would be your circle. The movement in the hip is exactly the same. Pause, let's go in the opposite direction. I'm going to take this full leg on this side just to show you again. Trying to keep my upper body nice and still, and this movement flowing with my breath, so it's not too fast. Keep it in time with your breath. Bring that foot back to full, let's swap over. So again, extended leg, and bring it back. Watching here that the hips don't rise up. You want to try to keep this hip down on the mat and bring it around. Again, option to do a nice bent leg version. Pause, let's go in the opposite direction. So bent leg or straight leg, either is absolutely fine. And you might notice this side's smaller movement for me because it's tighter in this hip joint. Okay, and then bringing that foot down to the floor. Bringing the feet a little bit closer in towards your bottom, so you might be able to just about touch your heels, you might not. I've got quite long arms, so that's fine for me. We're going to start with the pelvic tilt, so exhale, lace up your corset muscles, tilt your pelvis back. So flattening your lower back down, we're not lifting up here, I've still got contact at the back of my hips, and then come back to neutral. Exhale, tilt the pelvis back, this time starting to lift up. Let's come up just to kind of halfway, kind of waistbands, maybe not even halfway, and see how that feels, and then lower back down. If you want to come up a bit higher, tilt the pelvis back, push up through the hips. Watch here that the rib cage doesn't flare the way up, so we want to think about keeping the ribs down, opening the front of the hips. Exhale, lowering the spine down, one vertebra at a time. That lower back, really working my way through there. Take another breath if you need it. All the way down to the tailbone, and let's do that again. Exhale, tilt the pelvis back, come up. Pause at the top, take a breath in. Exhale. Sending the back down with control, all the way through the spine. And again. Really again, thinking about flowing movement here. Exhale. Inhale. Okay, if you want to do a single leg variation, You can either just lift the heel off the floor but keep the toe down, and the work's going to be in your opposite leg, or you could float that foot off the floor and then press up into your single leg bridge, and again come back down with control. So much more challenging, trying to keep the hips level. A wee bit of shaking going on today. Again, this is my weaker side, so this is much more of a challenge for me. And lower back down. Let's swap over, other side. And if this feels like you're twisting or you're too wobbly, come back to having 2 feet on the floor, or try that version with just the toe on the floor. Pressing up. Watching for the ribcage flaring. Really working your whole back of the legs. Yeah, that's all good to me. And coming back down. Again, we can have a little stretch out or hug the knees in, whatever feels better to you. Let's bring the feet back to bend, knees together. And we'll roll over to one side. Just letting the hips here roll over, keeping my shoulder down on the mat. And back to the middle. Over to the other side. Head can go wherever you want it to be. And back to the centre. So we're going to come round onto my side. And full length on my mat. If you want wee block cushion underneath your head here, you can do to keep your head supported. Today I'm going to take my bottom arm out and rest my head on that. So on my side, if you feel that this is a bit unsteady, take your feet a little bit further forward towards the front edge of your mat. Top hand, I'm just going to rest here to keep my shoulders stacked. If I take my hand onto my side, then often this gets pulled back a little bit. So keeping it here keeps my shoulder in a nice position. Top hip directly over bottom hip. I've got a little lift here underneath the rib cage, so if I was just kind of slumped into the mat, that would be completely down, there's no engagement, but we're lacing up our corset muscles, so tiny mouse hole. There might not be any gap at all, but you'll feel the difference, bringing your spine into alignment. Exhale, lifting that top leg and lowering down. Reaching nice and long through the toes, and again connecting with your breath. Exhale, inhale. See that itchy nose. Okay, one more single leg. This time I'm going to lift both legs together and lower. So we're getting to the side of the body here. Little lift and lower. Making sure here that we don't roll back, so we want to make sure that we're still on your side. Okay. This time I'm going to float this top leg up, and then I'm going to bring my bottom leg up to meet it and lower down. Breathing, lacing up my corset muscles, reaching through my toes. Last one, and both legs can come down. Okay, I'm going to come round onto my other side. I'm going to flip myself over so that I'm still facing the camera. It's going to be quite rude to put my back to you. So again, I'm using my arm. You can support your head, pillows, block, cushions. Lengthened out through my legs, little lift, lacing up my corset muscles. Shoulders stacked, hips are stacked. Exhale, lift that top leg. reaching nice and long and lower. So I'm just lightly on my fingers, I'm not leaning forward either and supporting myself with my hands. So I'm definitely on my side and I'm using my core to keep me here. Again, exhale, inhale. Okay, both legs together and lower. Little squeeze, keeping the legs together, lengthening through your feet. Okay, one more. And again, floating this top leg up, not too high, it's just about the height of my hip. And bringing the bottom leg up to meet and lower. So top leg's going to stay as it is. And whether you have flex foot or point foot, personal preference. Okay, last one. And lower back down. Okay, coming round onto our front. So I'm just going to shuffle myself over a little bit. I'm going to pop my hands underneath my forehead so my neck is nice and relaxed and I can look down towards the mat. Front of my hip bones are down on the mat and lightly drawing my belly button in towards my spine. Exhale, lift one leg and lower. So reaching nice and long through my toes. Look, squeeze off my glutes. But that front of the hip stays down on the mat. So making sure here, if I start to lift too high, you can see that I'm twisting. So nice and controlled. Exhale. Okay, last one. We're going to do both legs together. Floating them just a little way off the floor and down. If your back's not happy, remember, don't lift the legs. Just imagine that you're lifting them. Little squeeze and relax. If the back's okay, you can let them float up, not too high. Okay, going with a breath. Okay, legs are resting on the floor. Upper body, arms, forehead. We're going to float up and lower. So we're really looking here to work in at your back. If your feet are lifted up, then you're back into the glutes. So legs nice and relaxed. And again, I'm not coming up really high, just off the floor. Finding my muscles in my back and then relaxing back down. Okay, taking hands down by my sides. Exhale, turn the palms in, reaching down through the fingers, drawing the shoulders back. And then relax, let the shoulders widen and soften. Oh. Dark position. So I just keep my neck relaxed, so I'm talking into the floor. Okay, 2 more. And last one. So I'm bringing my hands back either side of my head, lifting to the crown of my head, coming up into a nice gentle back bend, and then lower back down to the floor. So again, long arms here means I'm not going to get my arms fully extended. They're still a little bit soft, and that's okay. And one more. So not letting my head tip back here. Neck's nice and relaxed, shoulders are nice and relaxed. And lower back down. hands underneath my shoulders, pressing back, coming into child's pose or puppy pose. So puppy pose is hips over your knees and coming forehead down towards the mat. It's my preference. If you're happy to take your hips down onto your heels, which is fine for some people, and then come forward, lovely. That's not a position my body feels particularly comfortable in, so choose what feels right to you. You can give your bottom here, get a little sway, you can get your back to loosen off, whatever feels better to you. Coming on to hands and knees. So hands are underneath shoulders, maybe a little bit wide on the shoulders. Knees are underneath hips, and we've got a nice long back. Drawing belly button towards the spine. Keeping the neck nice and relaxed. I'm just going to start to slide my body back a little way. Not to put where I'm tucking under, okay? So for me, keeping hips, I'm probably, again, not going to go very far. You might go a little bit further than I do. And then I'm going to come back the other way. So you can see my body doesn't really change position, but my weight shifts forward and then shifts back. My spine stays nice and long, and I'm thinking about sticking my bottom towards the wall behind me. Okay, coming back into my 4-point position, and we're going to do opposite hand and leg, if you can keep nice and steady. If you lift here and you twist in the hips, or it gets all kind of wobbly, then slide the hand and the foot out instead, and then bring them back in. Watch for the back here, so keep that length in the spine. And again, flowing with my breath. Keeping shoulders, hips nicely aligned. Okay, sit back, give the wrist a little rest, and then finishing with, again, a little bit of movement in the spine this time. So firstly, side to side, and then tucking the tailbone, arching the back, nice cat stretch. Letting the tummy dip down, coming into what would be called cow, but more, I like to think of it as a release from cat. So exhale, inhale. Pressing through my hands all the time, so I'm not letting the shoulders collapse. Last one. Okay, I tuck my toes under, I'm going to walk my hands back. I'm going to come up here onto my feet, nice and slowly, no rush. Back to standing. Okay. Feet are hip width apart. We feel nice and tall. Got our shoulders, bring them up towards our ears. Let them melt down. And just make sure that you feel nice and soft. Give yourself a little shake out and enjoy the rest of your day.